Now, every time you talk of iconic knocks in India-Australia T20I games, the one knock that comes to my mind almost instantaneously is Yuvraj Singh's 70 runs of 30 balls in that semi-final in that 2007 World T20. Today, Hardik Pandya scored one better. On a day when they named a stand and an end on Yuvraj Singh's name at Mohali, Hardik Pandya was just brilliant. 71 not out of 30. Australia, of course, put India into bat. India put on the board 208 runs at the end of their 20 overs. Courtesy, of course, Hardik Pandya. Also a great start from KL Rahul and good runs in those middle overs from Suryakumar Yadav. You're watching Cricket Buzz Live. My name is Tanay Tiwari. With me, AJ and JB. Gentlemen, welcome. And this is a good score, and that was a spectacular knock.
Well, what a knock that was. And like you put it so precisely, one more than what Yuvraj Singh got.
Yeah.
And that was what, 15 years ago?
It was.
So another thing that you see is, that's the pace that somebody could play 15 years ago. There's a man here done it totally differently. I mean, he had hit 6 sixes in 1 over, whereas in his entire innings, he's hit 5 and he's actually got 3 in the last over. He timed it so beautifully. And I think ever since he's come back from his injury, he just seems calmer. He seems so assured.
Yeah.
And it just brings actually the calmness that you actually look for. Normally, people who score at this pace or, are going at that stage is always rushed or, you see people rushing or using muscle. But this man is, just timing it so beautifully. Yeah. And it just seems like he makes the game look so easy. I mean, in the shot that he hit over point at the end, that's still fine. But the one that he hit in front of mid-off was just pure timing. When he bats, this game looks like an easy game. It just seems like itna aasan hai yaar chakka marna. He's just been fabulous. I think whatever happened to him in that injury or the period that he went through, it's just transformed this man. He always had the ability to hit, scores, and we could see him play these knocks once in a while. But every time now he walks out to the field, you get that assurance from Hardik Pandya. It's wonderful to watch.
And Joy, that assuredness, he's right, because every time you saw Hardik Pandya, perhaps in that pre-injury phase, I mean, he still had the goods to deliver. He had the talent. No one has the doubt around that. But for that kind of assuredness to come from Hardik Pandya, we saw that in the game against Pakistan as well. He said, I'll handle it. And that's the one hallmark of this change, Hardik Pandya.
This newfound confidence, I think, from being a captain, coming back from all there, becoming a captain, batting at 4. And see, he was a 6'5", 6'5", 6 batsman. He batted consistently at 4 this IPL season, and then he's changed his game totally. Look at the way he's accelerated. He starts off, he has 5 4s, just a couple of 6s, okay? Mainly hitting the ball on the ground, great wrist work and all that. In the end, he finishes like a Ferrari. 21 runs the last over, 3 6s to finish. So that's what you see. Just look at the way this innings progression has gone. This actually, if you look at it, is a textbook innings progression from India. Yeah. They managed to make that run rate of 10.5 between 7 and 15. Between 7 and 15 to get 10.5, that's a big struggle. Actually, their first 6 overs were not great.
Yeah,
if you compare it, their first 6 overs, but the end was absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, he ended it like Red Bull. I'm a Ferrari fan. I was very happy when you said Ferrari. But Ferraris aren't ending it really well nowadays. But the one thing that Joy pointed out, AJ, is the fact that, I mean, of course, we know he can hit those 6s, but those boundaries, the way he was piercing the gaps, the way he was hitting the ball, especially in that cover region, cutting those balls, especially from Pat Cummins, those placements were brilliant from him today.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, on a wicket like this, you can see, people using the pace and hitting it behind point. And you're absolutely right. To hit it in front of point tells you 2 things. That the man has so much time that, he can actually hit it in front of point. And 2, his timing is so good. And I think, at the start of his innings, he was not even looking to hit that. He was provided that room. So he had a choice to hit it behind point or in front. And he picked the, more difficult place. And I guess it's because he's got so much time. Because as a batsman, I mean, when you feel comfortable, you generally, it's only a split second. That's the difference between, the timing it or not timing. But that assurance of himself that he has, I think allows him to do that. Now he's playing with the field. Yeah. He's not just trying to hit the ball hard. He's actually got so much time. He's saying, okay, let me hit it here or let me hit it there. And that's a hallmark of a great player, because one is just striking it wherever it's hitting your bat. One is you are hitting it where you want to hit it. That is control. And that's control is not just with that shot, but I think entire innings. He held that innings together.
He did.
I mean, if you look at it, I mean, otherwise 30 balls, 70, you would think, somebody's just blazed it away. And Joyda pointed out beautifully that, he's timed it so well. So he controlled the innings all the way, and then he just blasted at the end. And that shot that you talked about, I think talks about how good a player he's become.
Correct. He's playing with the fields, with his confidence. He's also playing with the oppositions. He knows what he's doing. This version of Hardik Pandya is a fan favorite, has to be a fan favorite. But the middle overs was something that we were talking about in the pre-show as well. And you just alluded to that, Joy. If you look at that innings progression, the one big positive, apart from, of course, Hardik Pandya's innings, will be how India scored in those middle overs. 7 to 10, you got 40 runs despite not having that great a power play. And kudos to KL Rahul and Suryakumar Yadav for that.
Yep. I mean, that's exactly what they did. So KL Rahul took it over in the beginning, then Suryakumar Yadav comes in and he starts playing with see, Surya is naturally aggressive.
Yeah.
You'll rarely see Surya play 20 balls and not give you runs because he's taking a chance on every ball. He's positioning himself to score off every ball. So he's going to either come off, he's not going to come off. But, he comes off more times than he doesn't. And what he does is he ensures the guy on the other hand doesn't have pressure. So even when Hardik walked in, Surya was still there. Hardik didn't have to hit that hard. He just managed to he could time the ball, he could hit the ball. He didn't have to hit big sixes. And then when they went, then he could play his game. So important was the fact that, this innings is all about continuity.
Yeah.
It's basically KL Rahul's momentum moved over by Suryakumar Yadav, who then hands over the momentum to Hardik Pandya, who beautifully finishes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the secret of this innings. At 45, 55, 46, 71, and all of them scored in very good time. I mean, the top batters all scored at a very, very decent strike rate.
Yeah, it was like a relay race, which started, of course, with KL Rahul, and he hit some beautiful sixes there as well. But the one thing that was very surprising, Harshal Patel walks into bat and drives one beautifully for 4, and then another for almost a 6. I mean, Glenn Maxwell, had there been anyone else apart from Glenn Maxwell, that perhaps would have gone for a 6. Now, he said that I've worked on my batting in this interim. I've hit 500 to 700 balls is what he said. And that's showing now.
Yeah, it's showing, and I can take you back about 2014 would be 8 years back. This man and Rahul Tewatia that everybody knows.
Yeah.
These two would finish our practice. We'd be in Haryana and Lali. I spent a couple of months there with them. The whole practice session and all that would get over. And these two would then start hitting sixes and they would compete. And I've been saying this for a while and Harshal hasn't been able to show that to the world. But he has that ability. This man, not only now that he's talked about he's worked hard on his game, even at that time, he has this ability to hit sixes, and he is somebody that we've not even thought of his batting.
Yeah,
but he's got enough batting in him, and especially striking ability. Yeah. Maybe not as consistent. I mean, with Tewatia, what has happened is, the world has seen and you expect him. But this man is equally good at hitting sixes. It's just that he hasn't had the opportunity as well because he hardly gets to bat in certain teams. Maybe, someday some captain in IPL or someone will say, okay, let's try him out somewhere.
He gets a Sunil Narine kind of chance.
Yeah. And he's capable of doing that. And now that if he's worked hard and if you're hitting 40, 50, how many?
500 to 700 balls is what he said.
500 sixes or
500 to 700 balls. He's just batted continuously, range hitting and everything.
Wow. And I just wonder what's happened to the guy who's been throwing the ball to him. Imagine his shoulder. But it just shows you why these guys are capable of hitting these sixes at this consistency because they practice this hard. Yeah. They hit, if they're hitting 400 sixes a day or trying to hit 400.
Not really a day, but over a period of time. I mean, 5-7 days, whatever. During his recuperation.
It just shows that the practicing systems have changed and they work on this so much that they've become so good. And I wish him in this. And he's a lad who's always tried very hard. In fact, I used to feel he tries too hard. He's one of those who actually puts in so much effort. And it's nice to see that it's paying off because his bowling, he's got everybody to accept his style of bowling. Yeah. And if he can add batting to it, I mean, I hope we don't need his batting in the World Cup. But come May that day, and one ball can, change the whole game.
Yeah, and today he's shown glimpses of that kind of batting ability as well. Let's have a look at Australia's bowlers now, and they would look at this bowling card, Joy, and go like, we leagued way too many. I mean, of course, Pat Cummins leagued a lot of runs, but would you say your pick of the bowlers was Nathan Ellis, the way he bowled, the areas he bowled?
No, Nathan Ellis was excellent. I was a bit flustered, and we were discussing this upstairs that somebody like an Adam Zampa, okay, early on, the ball is moving around, the batsmen are surely still not comfortable. These bowlers are good bowlers. Bowlers like Hazelwood, Cummings, they can move the ball around. Why did you suddenly have to put a Zampa over in? Then was it just part of the plans and you didn't want to change plans? So some of the bowling changes were a bit, was a bit surprising. I mean, I know Hazelwood got a wicket, but at that point in time, Hazelwood couldn't have changed the game. And really, perhaps he would have been useful towards the end when 67 runs went in 5 overs. So, somewhere I feel that they had come with a plan and they didn't change it no matter what the Indians did. And perhaps, given the fact that the Indians were not looking to attack up front, could they have bowled a few more, seam bowlers when the ball was still swinging? So there are quite a few questions out there which, the Australians will look at themselves and say, perhaps we missed a trick or two out there.
Yeah, well, it's now down to the Aussie batters, 209 for them to chase. Let's have a look at their batting order. Aaron Finch and Cameron Green will, of course, open. Then you've got Steve Smith, Maxwell, Tim David on debut, Josh Inglis and Matthew Wade. Pat Cummins can bat as well. So they do have the batting. And now there was this big threat that everyone's talking about. Bhuvi versus Aaron Finch. He doesn't like the ball coming in. The first ball, he's hit him over long off, I think, for a 6. And the keeper is up now.
Well, I mean, that's one way to, deal with that in swing that
Correct.
he's always been troubled. So it's playing on his mind. He's trying something, which gives you a chance as well.
Yeah.
But these are little battles. We should get out and start watching that
We
one.
should. So to start that, we must do the predictions then. You go, because you're the closest to the score.
I'll go by if Steve Smith gets 40 score, then they'll get very close to this total. No,
Steve Smith gets 40,
he's the key.
yeah.
He's the key in
But
this
power
game.
play prediction, sir. Steve Smith score prediction.
Power
we can
play
play another game, but
Power play prediction would be 55.
55.
Gone big.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll go 51.
48.
Oh, we're all close. Bunched
We're
up
all
very
close by again.
We've been beaten in the first one by a long margin. Maybe we'll be
We've been beaten by Hardik.
We've been beaten by Hardik. Absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely.
But I have a feeling we might get beaten again this time.
Okay, let's see.
On the upside.
Okay.
Okay, lovely. It's going to be an interesting game. We'll, of course, be back at the end of 10 overs with Crick Buzz Combox. Thank you to AJ. Thank you to JB for joining us. Thank you to all of you as well. You were watching Crick Buzz Live. We'll see you all super soon.